Oh, okay, so you have some breath exercises at school, don't you? Okay, so even in the school, we just normally breathe, but sometimes what if we're afraid, or what if we're all excited or nervous about something? So now, who's had a vaccine? Okay, so just before the needle went in, did you remember to breathe? I know I kind of held my breath a little bit, and that made my body a little stiff, and I don't know if that happens to anybody else, but anyway, so we're going to be doing some breath techniques, and I have about 50 different breathing techniques that we'll be practicing that we'll get to learn. Some of them will be like the ones you have at school. So I'm wondering if one of you might like to lead us in one that maybe we can share with the grown-ups and they can do it with us. What do you think? Okay. Oh, let's see. Some of them are named after animals. This one is called the Bumblebee Breath. So why don't you come on up here and you can read the card, and you can stand up beside me so people can see you. You shine. Okay. All right, so read what the Bumblebee Breath is, and we'll see if we can have the grown-ups do it with us. Okay, so do you want me to help you with it?
Comfortable sitting position. Gently place the tips, then point your fingers in your ears and close your eyes. Breathe in slowly through your nose, then quietly.
We're going to do, and Eliza's going to be our leader, kind of show us how to do it. So we're supposed to choose a comfortable sitting position, so get yourself comfortable. And then gently place the tips of your pointer finger. And here's the bumblebee part of it. Breathe in slowly through your nose, and then hum quietly as you breathe slowly out. Oh, it sounds like a room full of bumblebees. Wonderful. Us. Anybody have water? When it's about the conference in Glasgow and the need for people to crisis that we're in right now, we need leaders. And so that's what you are all being trained to be. And I think leaders that know how to breathe, to be calm, to think clearly, and that's what I see in each one of you. So thank you for coming up here and sharing some breathing with the grown-up retreat today, because Carrie's going to share her story. So let's head on out.
That's awesome. Nathan, to come and introduce our speaker for this morning, and then I'll come chosen for the meditation this morning. Pay attention to what Mary Owen is going to be saying. John.
Hey, I am privileged this morning to introduce our speaker, my very good friend, Chris Howard. It is our mission to enable stewardship of God's creation. And I know of no one in Walla Walla who represents this goal better to speak of him as a naturalist and outdoorsman. Last month, he hiked a portion of the Pacific Coast Trail. He takes a weekly rest. In recent years, he has trekked the Andes Mountains of Ecuador, canoed the North Slope in Alaska. And just days ago, Chris told me and others, told me, of nature. But he is so much more than that. He is an active advocate, as our church is, for the enjoyment and conservation of our natural environment. And yes, that is stewardship, as we say in this church. Chris is a director of Blue Mountain Land Trust, the leading land conservation group in this area, and he's a gifted instructor in its Learning on the Land program. And Melissa and I, energetic leadership of Blue Mountain Audubon Society, for which he currently serves as president. Chris is inspired in the wisdom of Buddhism. Many years ago, he and his wife, Kathy, founded a Buddhist meditation group, Dharma Sangha, Chris Howell. I think beforehand, we are going to hear a poem.
What the power of slowing taught me is some of us will know without doubt that we are loved and that we are intimately, irrevocably part of the joyous creativity that is nature, that is wildness, that is wilderness, that is everything.
And you can understand me better, probably. So thank you so much for having me here. You know, I have so much good feelings about this church because of all the service that you sleep center, and we had the all-night sleep centers in here. Some of you are nodding your heads because you know about that. So I would come in from 3 o'clock in the morning till 7 in the morning. So I want to read a little poem here too to get us started in this talk. It's called "The World Grows in Me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of where the wood drape rests in the beauty and the peace of wild things, who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. And for a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. It has been in the Buddhist tradition. And one of the teachings of the Buddha, illusion of separateness. Talk about the illusion of other as human beings, but one with everything, as this poem here said a little bit ago. We are really all connected on a deeper level, living in the wild. In 1970, our nation had decided to go to war, and I could not go along with that in all good conscience. I just couldn't find myself to do that. So I needed to find hitchhiking up the West Coast, and I hitchhiked up. That's an adventure in and of itself, but I hitchhiked up and went into Canada, which is Canada, and all this time I felt like I was being guided by some. So I'd heard rumors that there were wild beaches on the west coast of Vancouver Island. And so that was sort of my direction. When I got to catch the ferry to Vancouver Island and then Nanaimo, and then if some of you may have been there, but then I went across the island, and back then there was no paved road, so I had to catch a ride in the back of a pickup truck over the dirt gravel logging road that switched back over the mountains in the middle of the island, and then gradually found its way down to the west coast. So I still didn't know where I was going. I was still homeless. And so carrying my backpack with my tent and my sleeping bag, radar station that was active during World War II. Somebody told me about it, and it led down this steep, muddy sideways, down through the woods, the beautiful woods of the beaches, at the coastline far below. It was a beautiful setting with all the walked along there, and I ran into a couple who were camping down there. And after we talked for a while, they told me that there are a few coves down, and he decided he wasn't going to do it anymore, and he left, and he told them, well, I'm not coming back. And so, again, I felt like I was being guided as I made my way along the isolated beaches, over the rocky headlands, over the beaches, over the rocky